Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink, it is time for some Path of Exile discussion. There has been a lot of online discussion about how significant the nerf to Headhunter is going to be with 3.18. So for those of you that are out of the loop, 3.18 is bringing a massive overhaul of how rare monsters work. This wasn't really intended as a nerf to Headhunter, although it certainly will serve as one. So what's happening is that the current pool of rare monster mods and magic monster mods is being retired. This pool includes the Bloodline and Nemesis modifiers, but also the core mods that have existed since the start of Path of Exile. These are things like stacking 10% of life added as extra energy shield, the mod that is just called extra life, the mod that is just called life regen, allies regen life, which is the monster version of the vitality aura, and probably most significantly, allies deal substantial added physical damage and allies move and attack faster. These auras that are extremely powerful and that are responsible for many a character death. These are being retired and instead they're being replaced by the individually more impactful mods from Archnemesis. Normal monsters will have none of these mods, magic monsters will have one, and rare monsters will have two starting from the beginning of the game, with them occasionally having 3 from Act 6 onwards, and occasionally having 4 when you're in maps. So how is this going to affect items that can steal mods from enemies? From the patch notes, Archnemesis modifiers are able to be gained by characters through sources such as Headhunter and Inspired Learning, though you're only able to have one instance of each modifier at any given time. So the days of having 10 of a particular mod are over. And that's going to be pretty impactful for some of them, but mostly this is about keeping player stats within the realm of sanity. This is going to be more of a nerf to Headhunter than it is a change to the other items. And that's because Headhunter, just by virtue of the sheer volume of mods that it would seize from enemies, could often have 15 or more copies of that life added as extra ES mod. So you're not going to be able to get as many stacks of that. So for Headhunter's sake, this is going to be a reduction in the magnitude of modifiers that you get, but you will still be able to sustain a lot of them through maps. The thing that I think is going to be most up in the air is how frequent the Soul Eater mod is. Soul Eater is available as an Archnemesis mod, just as it's been available through the Nemesis mod pool. When you have Soul Eater, or when a monster has Soul Eater, monsters that die within a certain radius of that entity cause the Soul Eater to gain a stacking buff to attack speed, cast speed, and move speed. This can stack to ridiculous levels, and it can create monsters that are truly deadly, or players that just blitz around the screen at light speed, killing everything in their path. Now, we don't know whether it's going to be more or less common than it has been in the past. If it turns out that the Soul Eater Archnemesis mod is quite a bit rarer than the old Nemesis mod was, then you might see players experimenting with using Xerfy's Heart as an alternate source of Soul Eater, or there's a unique belt. We'll see how commonly people experiment with different ones. The item that's the big winner though is Replica Headhunter. So because of the volume of mods that magic monsters have, it's actually pretty low in the current game, you weren't able to get very many mods with Replica Headhunter. You had a 20% chance when you kill a magic monster to gain its non-bloodline modifiers for 20 seconds. Presumably this will be translated to just a 20% chance when you kill a magic monster to gain its modifiers for 20 seconds, which means it's one Archnemesis modifier. This is going to be much closer in power to Headhunter in the future because you do kill a lot more magic monsters than you kill rare ones. If you are killing about 12 magic monsters for every rare monster that you kill, then in that case Replica Headhunter would be equal to Headhunter. I don't think that's usually the case. I think normally you'll find that the number of magic monsters you encounter is closer to 6 or 7 times the number of rares, but that is still going to bring Replica Headhunter much closer than it has been to Headhunter's power in the future. But the item that gets the most is Inspired Learning. So Inspired Learning at the moment, when it gains 1 modifier from a rare monster, this is usually pulling 1 from a pool of 6 or 7, so it's about a 6th or a 7th the effect of a Headhunter. Instead, it's going to be a half to a quarter, depending upon the number of mods that item has. Also, it's going to be interesting to see with Inspired Learning, if you already have one of the Archnemesis modifiers on a monster. So let's say that you kill a rare monster, and that had Bonebreaker and Deadeye on it, and your character already has Deadeye from another monster. It'd be really interesting to see whether you can get both Bonebreaker and Deadeye, or whether the game will say, oh, giving you Deadeye would be invalid, therefore we're going to give you Bonebreaker. If it's the latter, then that's going to make Inspired Learning even better. But Inspired Learning looks like it's going to be one of the most powerful items in 3.18. It's a drop anywhere unique jewel. It is very rare, but it is more common by far than Headhunter, and I think that this is going to be a hot chase item. Now, Inspired Learning does have 2 divination cards. There is the Academic, which is the one that's target farmable. There's also one that drops from Drox, which will grant a Corrupted Inspired Learning. The Academic is somewhat target farmable, and it is believed to drop in the Museum map tile set. It's pretty rare, but it's not one of the rarest divination cards in the game, so maybe we'll see a lot of people going and farming that horrible, 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 horrible map in the future because it is a source of a good divination card. Anyway, that's all I've got on this. May your Varlorbs have interesting results, and I will see you around.